I only watched the Super Bowl up until Usher's halftime show, but I continued to do research after the fact. A big theme that I noticed, aside from the general themes of consumerism and please buy a product, were themes surrounding friendship and community, such as the He Gets Us Jesus ad, where people are washing feet in a moment of compassion, and the Lindor chocolate ad, in which life is a ball and everything goes around and around. But an ad I want to highlight is Israel's Super Bowl ads, in which they beg viewers to bring their captives back home from Hamas. And when it comes to the brand theme, I think they attempted to fit into the general theme of community because I found that as more information is spread about the Israel-Palestine conflict and the genocide and other war crimes taking place in Gaza, the United States has tended to shift to be more pro-Palestine as opposed to our presidency and government endorsing Israel. So through broadcasting an ad to millions of Americans during the country's biggest televised event, it's kind of obvious that they want to regain that support by showing a sad story and a message. And within the ad, they said, to all the dads, the funny ones, the silly ones, the strong ones, the adventurous ones, to all the dads held in captivity by Hamas for over 120 days, we vow to bring you home. And it showed a bunch of pictures of fathers in the background, and the video ended with the hashtag bring all dads back home. In terms of persuasive techniques, they try to tug at people's heartstrings with the message of fathers and families, reminding people of war-torn and broken families. And I'd say it is relevant as it's related to the real world and events happening in real time, but it definitely wasn't related to the Super Bowl, a sports game. People were expecting pizza and wings and touchdowns and their favorite teams winning, as well as celebrity appearances and movie trailers within advertisements, while this commercial had nothing of the sort and excluded all of that. And while I think it heavily relied on that attempt of relating to the overall theme of community and coming together for a cause, as well as emotional persuasion, and I found that excluded a lot of political references as it did not outright mention Palestine or any other political leaders, but rather focus on the existence of these hostages and how Israel wants them back. Um, when it comes to persuasion and persuasive appeal, there's definitely a lot of pathos and emotion because everyone has a father, and it'd be hard to imagine your own father in such a war-torn situation. And overall, I think there was an attempt made at gaining support and spreading word on the conflict. Again, due to widespread use of social media, people are aware of what's going on, so they definitely want people to choose their side as other people are choosing other sides. Another Super Bowl ad pertaining to real events is the RFK ad, as Robert F. Kennedy Jr. played an ad in homage to his uncle, Robert F. Kennedy, as he endorsed his own presidential advertisement. Um, RFK Jr. is currently running for the 2024 presidency as a third party, so he's the Super Bowl to televise and get word out of his candidacy. And it was also controversial as people found it disrespectful to the legacy of the 35th president of the United States, as RFK Jr. has plastered his face all over his uncle's face in the original advertisement. I found that also fit into the common Super Bowl ad theme of community, as once again, it is attempting to bring peers together for a common cause, the election. And when it comes to persuasion techniques, I say there was a lot of ethos as RK Jr. is building off of the legacy of his uncle and building credibility off of his family history. And it's sort of as if he is saying, hey, my uncle was president, so I can be too. And when it comes to exclusion, I will say that I didn't know it was a campaign at first. I knew it was related to Robert F. Kennedy and the election, but at first I thought it was kind of persuasive technique to get people to register to vote and pay attention to the election. And it wasn't until I looked a little bit closer at his face and said, oh, that's Junior's face all over his uncle's. So, despite the controversy, I believe it was a clever use of such an iconic advertisement of such a catchy jingle, especially as it's a familial thing. Because if a random candidate like DeSantis had plastered his face over RFK's commercial, I definitely would have given him the side eye. But with RFK Jr. being RFK's nephew, I believe that it works. When thinking of what would have been excluded this year's Super Bowl ads, I would have expected current events and politics to be absent, especially with all the controversy surrounding everything going on in the real world. So I definitely raised an eyebrow at the He Gets Us, Bring All the Dads Back Home, and RFK ads. But overall, apart from the usual movie trailers and celebrity endorsed products in the name of consumerism, some of these ads were definitely surprising.